Hello. It occurred to me a lot of problems that we confront when we're using this software can be solved by a simple action. You know, when you're not working to produce something and you have a few minutes to spend just on learning the software, I recommend you do this. And this is what I do for every new project. The first thing I do, I open a new plan like I've got here. I go to Edit, Default Settings. The default setting is germane to this plan file and no other plan file. And whether it's a remodeling job or a custom home or a commercial project, you should know when starting it what the ceiling height is of the most pervasive ceiling height is going to be for this project. So you go to Floors and Rooms, Current Floor, Edit, and on the Structure tab, you set the ceiling height. No reason to come back after the fact, after you've started drawing walls and so forth, and do this. This is the first thing you should do. Okay. The next thing I usually do is I'll go over here to Walls and Exterior Wall. I know what kind of exterior wall I'm going to be using most of the time. And if exterior siding 6 is fine, then use that. Otherwise, you go over here and I didn't mean to click on Define, but yeah, I guess I did. No, I didn't. This is the exterior wall, and let's see. Yeah, you would set this to exterior wall to the wall that you're most commonly going to use on the project. That's what I meant to say. And the same thing for the interior wall. Most of my project is going to serve on some of my commercial ones. I'll need to set it up for metal studs and whatnot. But you do that before you draw the first wall. And then the next category would be doors and windows. What style of door does the client like? You set it up, all these door types, for the type that you know that they like because you have asked and you know, okay? Same thing with the cabinets. You should have some idea what they find acceptable, whether they want dark cabinets, white cabinets, painted, what style, and you set all those defaults up for cabinets. And then same thing with windows. If it's a commercial project, you're not going to have casing on the window. So you set up for the kind of object that you're going to be using in the plan before you start the plan. That's the key. Another thing I wanted to talk, oh yeah, same thing with text. Go through these and set up the text the way you want it. If you're defaulted and already set up, or template planted and set up, and you set that up for this project, for this plan file. And on and on and on through these. Okay. And the next thing I wanted to point out is a good exercise. If you're wondering how to train yourself on this software, I'm going to place a cabinet, then open the cabinet. And you go to the dialog box and you look for any of these settings that you don't fully understand, what it's there for, what it does. And you find, if you notice something that you don't understand, like these settings here, do you know what they mean or not? And it would be a good exercise to practice with this, changing these settings and then viewing the changes in the actual object that you change. So that's a good exercise. I do this all the time. Not all the time, but on a regular basis. I'll just go to the dialog and scan these settings. And, if I don't know what they mean, I'll give it a quick change and see what the change looks like. Okay, see there, it's a different kind. Or you go to the library. Set that back where it was, use default. But this is an easy way, and it only takes a few minutes, and when you get bored with it, well, fine, do something else. But spend some time actually confronting these dialog boxes and looking at the various tabs and the settings on those tabs. And then by that way, you're educating yourself and making yourself more competent in the use of the software. Something that Dan Bauman does, he taught me how to use Chief Architect years ago, is he will actually draw in 2D CAD across, a virtual cross section of the project. I'm doing this in plan view, but it doesn't matter. You could do it in a CAD detail if you wanted. And let's see, we'll take this object and set that to 108. Set this to the thickness to 12 and 5/8. Now, however you plan to construct the project, you can work out in advance. There's a virtual second floor platform. Here's a wall, could represent a wall. He recommends that you work all this out in two-dimensional CAD. Then you understand spatially and structurally the project that you're fixing to embark upon. I don't always do this, but I thought I'd mention it in passing because it has some, it puts you at a better degree of understanding of the project that you're fixing to create. So set your defaults, and then you should already have set your preferences. Now, preferences are applicable to all plans and how Chief Architect functions. And then edit default settings is germane just to the plan file that you're working on. I'm going to shift select this stuff and get rid of it. That's all I wanted. That's all I had on my mind right now. I hope this helps some of you, and I wish you all well. Thank you.